me, it's really difficult to figure out what's appropriate or not. So what I did, I chose to talk about one episode that Chris and I shared a long time ago. And it's a long story, so what I did was I turned it into a poem for everybody. So now, here we go. For Chris Driver, September 2014. Driver is a friend of mine, a friend of all of us here. A friend who always has the time to chat or share a beer. The music man, the party guy, the one who makes us sing. To love and entertain his friends has always been his thing. Now Chris and I go back a ways to Whistler in our teens. My hair was long, I had no cash, but skiing was my dream. Chris back then was just the guy I loved to see appear. He drove a Rover and he had a job. He brought food and cash and beer. He couldn't ski, but he was keen to keep up with the rest. Who would have thought that he'd become the one who skied the best? He followed Elwyn, Dean, and I down any slope we tried. Back then he wasn't getting it. My feet are cold, he cried. In '74, the Drive and I decided to go far. We flew to London and hung around in Chris's uncle's bar. We bought a Mini, they called it a van. We were lucky to survive. We figured out the problem was, our van was right-hand drive. To Manchester and Edinburgh, and then the Isle of Skye. We toured Great Britain all around before we said goodbye. We sold our van and carried on. Our trip was far from over. Behind us in the ferry wake, we saw the cliffs of Dover. In Amsterdam, we bought a van, Volkswagen this time around. It seemed to be the perfect choice. For Deutschland, we were bound. Our van, we christened Morrison. It was ideal for our plans. We headed north to Hamburg town to see my Uncle Hans. We installed a bed, a stove, and curtains, but we were anxious to get skiing. So we headed south towards the Alps, where snowfall we were seeing. Our skis we bought in Austria, ski season just begun. We didn't feel quite ready yet, so we headed for the sun. South to Greece we drove the coast. We'd stay in parks or cemetery. We camped on the beach or right downtown. With no toilet, it was scary. We skied in Greece, we saw the sights, then we ferried to Corfu. The beaches just were warm enough, so what else could we do? We ferried to Brindisi on the heel of Italy, while a winter storm tossed our ship across the Adriatic Sea. We toured the length of Italy, still camping in our van, drove through the Mont Blanc tunnel to arrive in Switzerland. In Zurich, we met Auntie Kath, Chris's Auntie Kath. Her condo she did give at Crans Montana Ski Resort. That's where we went to live. We skied powder almost every day. The slopes were steep and nifty. We jumped off cliffs, we skied the bumps. We befriended every lifty. For many weeks we hit the slopes. We skied mile after mile. Chris Driver finally figured out how to ski with grace and style. We drove to Zermatt, skied some more until the snow was gone. Then we got back in our van with plans to travel on. Morocco sounded good to us. We heard they had blonde hash. But Morris in our van exploded and we were running out of cash. Our trip was over. We flew back to Whistler for the spring. Not ready to get on with life, not ready for anything. Now 40 years are in between that trip and here today, but Chris and I and all our friends, we still get out to play. Now music, skiing, sail, and talk, we have a lot to share, which brings us back to Birthday Boy and why we all are here. It's Laura Lee and Chris, my friends, who tie us all together at RVYC here today, enjoying this fine weather. So happy birthday, Chris, my friend, and thank you just for being. There's a lot more to this friendship than just music, sail, and skiing. So on behalf of all of us here today, I'd like to raise a glass. I don't have a glass. Thanks, Chris Driver, for 60 years. You've always been first class.